Me down to the paradise city when the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Something, take me down. Hello YouTube people, welcome to this video that features just Amelia Mandeville. And I thought, what about the perfect opportunity to talk about my driving experience? If you guys don't know, I am currently learning to drive and it's been somewhat eventful and I'm slightly convinced I'm not going to learn to drive. I've brought this to put on my car when I pass. But after much consideration, this might have been a bad omen. Stop it. And I might not ever get to use this. In England, you can learn to drive from the age of 17. I am 20. I'm like 6 months away from being 21. No. I'm like 6 months into... Oh my gosh, I'm 6 months away from being 21? No. I cannot drive yet, and I didn't learn when I was 17 for a couple of reasons. Number one, learning to drive is very expensive. So basically I didn't really think I could afford it. Secondly, I didn't think I'd be able to have a car. So I kind of thought, what's the point in learning to drive if I can't afford it? And thirdly, I didn't really go out the house. I had no social life. But my life has changed, you know. I'm quite fortunate in the fact that I've been working and I've been able to save up for lessons. And I have a better social life now. No clue how. And also I have a boyfriend, and when I started dating my boyfriend, I realised I kind of want to see him when I want to, and I want him to be able to see me, and I want us to be able to go for dinner without worrying like how we're going to get there, or if we want to spontaneously go on a date, we can do something without relying on our parents, because my boyfriend doesn't drive, I don't drive, I live in the middle of nowhere with no public transport whatsoever. So I just started. I booked, I think, about 20 hours under this company. You have to do it online. I'm not going to name the company, but you book with them and you don't actually know what instructor you're going to get. You don't specifically choose your instructor. Now, piece of advice. I personally think you should look at your instructor and choose your instructor specifically or pacifically. Whatever way you say that word, you choose them. You need to read the reviews. You need to see if they would be good. So I didn't know what my instructor was. So I started learning with this guy. He was alright, he's quite an old man. Not that should have to do with anything. We were driving a Mini, I was like, beep, beep, let. And for some reason, he would take me on like a 20-minute drive to learn in this certain area in Surrey. Turns out that's because of where he lived and he knew the roads down there better. Eventually, I started driving myself there and back, but I still was finding it weird because I was like, I would love to be driving around the area that I know. The thing with him, I just found him quite uncomfortable, really. We were doing driving, but it was kind of almost as if he wasn't telling me anything. If I was doing something wrong, I'd kind of get told off. He was quite scary. It's almost like I was expected to know things. I don't know, I just was very confused by him and I didn't feel like he was following a thing. And after 20 hours, I still hadn't learned any manoeuvres or reverse. We used to drive to Ashford, which isn't actually that near to me, and we'd just drive around Ashford. But then, he used to ask me like a lot of personal questions. So he used to ask me if I had a boyfriend, and I was just like, fine, it's just making conversation. Yes, I do. And I explained like he was part of the reason that I wanted to learn to drive. Yes, I do have a boyfriend. And then he would ask me if I used to wear makeup, because I used to go to my driving lessons really makeupless. I thought, that's kind of weird though that he's asking me if I wear makeup. And then he asked me if I had a boyfriend again. And then one day he drove me to his house, which was a weird situation. Or I drove him to his house, because he had a plumber issue or something. We stopped on like the side of the road and he had this phone call, and then he went, oh, can we drive to my house? So I just kind of drove to his house and like sat outside his house while he went in his house to sort out his plumber issue, and I was thinking, I'm paying for this. And I was in the car like Snapchatting. I was kind of low-key scared in case he was going to like invite me into his house. I know that's like over-assuming things, but still. He was just very shouty. I don't know, just very like, no, you're doing this wrong. No, like, I don't know, it was just scary. It wasn't nasty, but I found him stressful, and I cried quite a few times when I came back. He always used to eat these sweets, and once he was like, do you want some sweets? And I was like, oh, no, I'm fine, thanks. And then he was like, oh yeah, you're right, you shouldn't take sweets from an old man. And I was like, ooh. He was like, old men shouldn't be offering young girls sweets. And I was like, okay. During that time, I didn't realise how strange it was, and like, I don't think it was appropriate, really, the questions he was asking me. He might have just been a nice, innocent guy, but like things just felt a bit dodgy, and I kept crying, and I just felt very stressed out with him. And also I just didn't like the fact that I didn't feel like I was progressing. I wasn't learning how to reverse or do manoeuvres or anything. I was like, that is it, I'm cancelling with this guy. I called him up and I got really scared about cancelling him. And I said, oh, I don't have any money anymore. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I just can't really afford it at the moment. It was a white lie, I could afford it, but I just didn't know what to say. And he was like, will you let me know when you can? I was like, yeah, I will. Didn't. I got a text message from him recently, like, hi, you still learning your driving? And I was like, hi, I'm taking a little break from driving. I lied again. I hate lying. I gave it like a month or two, and I was like, nope, I don't want to start back from the beginning. It took me so much time to get here. I want to get back in the game. I want to get back in the choo-choo broom broom game, you know? That in December, they're changing the practical test, so I was like, I need to pass before then. I need to pass before then. I thought I'd feel comfortable with a female instructor. Took lots of time, I did proper research, and I found this female instructor. And I really liked her. It took a while. It did take a while, I won't lie, because I had to get used to her car again, and I was really struggling, and I've had a fair few lessons with her, but she's really good, and I really like her. And she was really nice. She'd sometimes pick me up from my boyfriend's house, and she was just really good, and I've been learning things. And I really wanted to buy a car because she was saying how her other students kind of practice in their own cars, and I really wanted to buy a car. And my mum was like, once she tells you to book your test, you can buy a car. And like 2 weeks later, she was like, you may as well book your test. And I was like, yes, queen, yes. So I booked my test. It's £60 or something, and then I have to pay another £60 or £80 for my instructor to use her car. And I brought a car. I started trying to drive my mum, but it was a very scary situation for her. And I'm struggling with my car. I've got a Hyundai i10, very cute, 2011. I like it. But it's got a new clutch, and I just can't use the clutch. My clutch, for some reason, is like, and I stall it all the time, and it just doesn't like me. It's like slapping me in the face, going, mate. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to drive this car. It's fine though, because in my instructor's car, I feel like, yo, dude. But I feel so confident in my instructor's car, so it doesn't matter with my Hyundai. I'll figure that out when I pass. Go to one of my instructor's lessons, and she goes, I've got some bad news for you. And I think she's gonna say, you're not good enough for your test, like, let's prolong it. Didn't really want to prolong it because I'm desperado to drive, but I was thinking if she tells me to prolong it, she means it. Like, I don't want to waste like £100 and something on a test that I'm not gonna pass. But she says, I'm gonna have an operation soon. And I'm like, oh. And she goes, I'm not going to be able to drive for 6 weeks. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, so I don't know when the operation is, but it could be soon. And I was like, oh. This was like 2 weeks ago. So far I've had 2 more lessons, and I'm just hoping my test is in a month, and I'm hoping that her operation will be after my test, but I don't know. And also, like, I feel bad for her because obviously she's got to have an operation, and it sounds quite serious, but I don't want to lose her beautiful car and my beautiful, lovely instructor. And she was like, maybe you could take the test in your car. And I was like, oh. So I've been trying to practice in my car, just in case I have to take the test in my car, and also for driving practice for the test, because I really want to pass this test. So I might be taking the test in my car. I don't understand my car. My car is just so weird. And I turned the aircon in the other day, and my car went and I was like, dude, chill. I'm just trying to make everyone chill here. Like, I'm trying to help you out. You're hot. It makes this weird, like, little windscreen wiper sound when the windscreen wipers aren't even going. It goes, My main issue with this car is the clutch and the accelerator. It's got a little tiny engine, so if I just tap on the accelerator, it goes, and every time I take off, it sounds like I'm a little boy racer. So yeah, so my current situation. My test is in a month. I don't know if I'm going to be taking it in my instructor's car. I don't know if I'm going to have an instructor before my test. I don't know if I'm going to be taking it in my car. I don't really know what's going on. But I know I'm probably not going to drive. And also, one little added thing. I've probably spent from 1.5 to 2 grand in lessons. Or something like that. definitely over the 1 grand mark. So, but let me know in the comments any tips or tricks or your experiences, and I guess in a month from now we shall find out. I want to put this bad boy out. I wanna.